Okay, we're going to continue with the review and we're going to do number 7 now. For number 7, we're adding a trinomial and a binomial. Now just remember, when you are adding polynomials, it's different than multiplying them. Adding them is just a matter of combining like terms. Okay, hit pause and try and work this one out. Okay, to work this problem out, what I prefer to do is I prefer to rewrite it in a vertical kind of fashion, where I line up all my like terms kind of in columns. So I'm going to take this binomial over here, and I'm going to rewrite it underneath the trinomial, making sure that I have like terms aligned in columns. I can leave spaces if I need to. So I'm going to take this negative 8m squared, and I'm going to write it over there underneath the 2m squared. Now I'm going to take this negative n, think of it as plus negative n, and I'm going to write it not underneath this term, because that's an mn term. I'm going to write that negative n over here under that term, the other n term. I'm not going to write anything underneath here because I had no mn terms over here. Now if I want to, I can go back and make these subtraction signs into adding the opposites. Now I can combine these like terms. Okay, I'm going to cross this out so I don't get confused. I just moved those over to there. Now I have 2m squared and I have a negative 8m squared. When I combine those, that gives me negative 6m squared. Remember, when you're combining like terms, you do not change the exponents. Plus, the negative 3m had nothing to combine with, so I'm just going to rewrite that. Plus, I have a negative 5n and a negative n. That gives me negative 6n. So here's my final answer, negative 6m squared plus negative 3mn plus negative 6. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at, let me get rid of that one. Let's take a look at number 8. Now number 8 is going to be very similar, only this time we are subtracting two trinomials. So there's one extra step you're going to have to do. You're probably going to do it just like number 7 with one additional step in there. So go ahead and hit pause, try to work that out now. Okay, so I said you're going to work this out very similar to the way you worked out number 7, which means I'm going to take this trinomial and I'm going to write it underneath this trinomial, making sure my like terms are aligned. So I'm going to put 4x squared there minus xy minus y squared. Notice how my like terms are aligned. This one happened so that I didn't have to actually leave any spaces. There were the same kinds of terms in the two trinomials, so everything lined up real nicely. Now the one extra step I have to do here is I have to change the signs on these bottom terms. Because I'm subtracting, I change all the signs on the bottom. If they were positive terms, I make them negative terms. If they were negative terms, I make them positive terms. So this 4x squared, which was positive, becomes negative. This minus xy, now you can think of it as being plus xy. This minus y squared, now you can think of it as being plus y squared. Now I just combine like terms. So I have 6x squared and negative 4x. That gives me 2x squared. I have negative 2xy and a positive, there's an imaginary 1 there, positive 1xy. That gives me negative 1xy. Positive 3y squared and positive y squared gives me positive 4y squared. So remember, when you're subtracting polynomials, you line up your like terms and then you change the sign of all the terms in the second polynomial.